Howdy, guys. Episode 13 of That's Cool Drink. And this is a good one. I've got Lewis, and I've got Wendy, and I've got Austin, and I've got Zane on tonight. And it is going to be such a good time. My episode number 13, which is super awesome. I've also got the biggest audience in the world watching the NBA Finals. I actually have that playing. Go Nuggets. Woo! But anyway, so we've got this kind of going on all at the same time. We're going to have a good time. Everyone's in the background, and we were working on some technical stuff. And Lewis and Wendy couldn't hear us at all. So and then when we got stuff, we got a ton of feedback. So I've got Zane and Austin in the basement. Hey guys,
How's it doing?
not bad at all. And I've got Lewis and Wendy upstairs on the comfy couch, and they got the boys on the fold-out chairs.
Yep.
We got office chairs.
I guess we got the office chairs.
Oh, all right. That's cool. Drink.
Drink.
Hey, all right. Here we go. It's going to be that kind of night. But guys, thank you so much for joining. This is going to be such a good time. And, obviously, we've hung out a lot, and that's kind of the premise with this is like we've seen each other for like snippets, 10 minutes and stuff like that. And it's that way with all of these. And unless you've got the person that you're sitting next to in the car with you, you don't talk to anyone else pretty much. So it's been kind of cool to kind of get into the history of why you are who you are, why you're a car person, and that kind of thing, and really get you up to really that first Rocky Mountain Race Week. And that's kind of what I'm doing with my first handful of guests here is I'm trying to get all of the first Rocky Mountain Race Week participants, which you guys are. So that's kind of the background. I do have some comments that are coming in, so you'll see some stuff come across the screen here, especially if you're on your phone. I'll just kind of drive this, so you'll see it in the background. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah,
that's Ed Hoingberg, and he said it's time for a mid-strength beer, which is great. So, and John Stonecipher is watching in the background here.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah, we love Johnny.
And my buddy Steve Wolf is on watching, and he actually just won. He lives in Grand Junction, which is about 4 hours away over the mountain, and he drove out because Bandimere is closing to race King Street, and he won the race, which is very cool. So super awesome. And Alan is in the background giving us gang signs. But anyway, so guys, thank you again for joining. This is going to be super fun. And honestly, I mean, we've got to start with the patriarch. I mean, Lewis, what started you into, why are you a car guy? What makes you tick? Why are you the guy you are today?
Well, I guess it probably started when I was younger with my dad. I have a 1941 Plymouth pickup that was my great-grandpa's, and me and my dad restored it, and I actually drove it. We've restored it like 2 or 3 times, actually. I used to drive it in high school. I mean, I drove it to school. You know, it's pretty cool. And my dad did some street drag racing back in the day, and I just always loved cars, and I loved the speed. But probably the first thing was us redoing that old truck, and that really got me hooked, and I still have it. I'm wanting to redo it again.
That's super awesome. What's
yeah, I'd love to do like
sorry, what's like the combo with that truck? What is it, like stock rebuilt, kind of restored sort of deal?
The first time we did it, it was on the stock frame with a flathead 6 and stuff, and it was really hard to get any suspension parts. They didn't make a whole lot of Plymouth pickups.
Right.
And my great-grandpa, he was a mailman back during the war, and he delivered mail in that truck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my great-grandma was a nurse at Fort Leonard Wood in down here in Missouri, Army base. And he would deliver mail during the day in that truck, and she would take it. They built this big wooden box on it, and she would go around and pick up nurses and stuff to work at the hospital to work the night shift and take them all back home in the next morning. So
wow,
the truck's got a lot of history with it, you know. So
nice. So so you still have that, and what's your plan with it at some point?
Well, the combo in it right now, me and my dad ended up switching it over. It's on a 60 Chevy pickup frame with a 350 with a 4-speed in it. It's still kind of rough riding and stuff like that. So I've got a long bed S10 frame, and we're going to put it on there so we can, get the ride height right. And suspension parts are a lot more available. Wheel choices, power steering, power brakes. I don't have any of that right now. And I'm kind of debating. I'm putting my Chevelle back on the street and not racing it anymore. I'm wanting to go drive like Route 66 out to California.
Oh, that would.
So I don't know whether I'll do it in the old truck or the Chevelle.
And that's this Chevelle. Bam.
Yeah.
And is it a 1 or a 2?
A 2. 72.
Nice. Actually, I called my buddy Steve, who was on here, and I was like, "Quick, you got to tell me how to tell the difference between a 71 and a 72 Chevelle." And he's like, "He's got a 70," and he's like, "I don't know. They're pretty much the same car."
Yeah, one of the only main differences on the front of the car, the turn signals, lenses on the corners. The 71s are split in half and mine are solid.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. So that brought you to this car, and
yeah.
Tell us about kind of getting into this car and bringing it. And I actually had no idea you guys did a handful of drag weeks. And when I had my Carlos interview, I he told me about that, and I had no idea you guys had been a handful of years before that 2014 where I kind of met everybody. But yeah, run us through that and getting into drag week and whatnot.
Yeah, my car before my Chevelle, I had a 64 Chevy 2 Nova. I had that when I was 16 till I was around 18. And some people moved from the state of California here to Sedalia, and they had the Chevelle. It was red with black stripes. And they put it up for sale for $2,300. Rust-free California car, original floor, quarters, everything still on the car. And so I bought it for $2,300. My mom and dad signed for me a bank loan for it. So I went and borrowed the money, and I worked full time and went to school. So I bought that car when I was 17, I think. And it just kind of evolved through the years. I actually had it about 2 weeks since the people pulled out in front of me and totaled it out, actually.
Oh.
And I bought it, which they didn't actually salvage the title. Still got a good title, but I fixed the car and painted it red with black stripes again. Then after a few years, I was kind of tired of the red with black stripes because there's so many of them. So we stripped it all the way down to metal and repainted the car again, the orange with the black stripes. And I'd had a couple different engine combinations, and all small block Chevy, some of them NA, some of them nitrous. But in 2011, and I've been a car guy all my life, but I hadn't really been getting Hot Rod Magazine or anything. And Carlos, we worked together. And he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "we are to go to Hot Rod Drag Week." And I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "You forget. I live 15 miles south of town, and when I would bring my car to town to cruise it, I had 514 rear end gear in it. I hauled it to town and home. I was like,
right.
What are you talking about driving it all week long? He goes, "Yeah, and I go, well, at that point in time, I didn't have a motor in my car. I had a car and a transmission. Well, Carlos had built a motor, but he didn't have a car. He goes, so let's put my motor in your car, switch the rear end gear to, something more highway friendly, like a 456. and that year, Drag Week started in Topeka, Kansas, which is 2 hours from here. So we got us a little trailer, and we threw the car together in about a month. And we didn't know anything about having a pre-register, for far selling out. They have a pretty strict 2 o'clock cutoff time. If you ain't in line by 2 o'clock, you're out. We didn't know any of that. So we get in the car that morning, and we get to Kansas City, and we stop, and we're getting gas. We shut the car off, and I went to start it. The car wouldn't start. Well, by this time, we'd heard you had to be there by 2 o'clock, and we got like an hour. Car won't fire. It was the MSD box went out. Well, luckily, we had a spare one, plugged it in. It's laid on the floor, fired up, and we hauled ash, And we got to Topeka, and when we pulled up the line, we wasn't there, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. Jeff Greer was in front of us. That's when we met him. And I don't remember if it was Keith Turk or who it was, pulled up on a golf cart and wrote a number on our windshield. At that point in 2011, they wasn't selling out. We was car number 177 or 178 and the cutoff was 200 cars. So we pulled up and he rolled up and put a number on my window and he goes, if anybody else pulls up behind you, tell them they're too late. They're out. I'm like, well, okay, right. What I want to tell people, but
right.
And so we ended up getting in and doing the trip, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, that kind of got us hooked. Me and Carlos have been friends since the 6th grade, so it was pretty cool to just go on a big road trip like that.
Hell yeah. And then you did obviously that first one, and you guys survived. No problems, made it back, right? And drove the car there and drove it back.
Yeah. We broke the second to last day we was in Tulsa. We broke a set of lifters, a brand new set of high dollar lifters broke. So we're walking around through the pits, kind of bumming to see if we figured we was probably pretty much out. They was like an offset lifter, not real common, and
right.
We just go around. Carlos asked me, "Randy, you got your roller lifters?" And we get to these two guys. I'll never forget the guy's name, Ed Esner. He had a Mustang with a small block Chevy of all things in it on nitrous. And the guy that did his tuning and stuff on it, we walked up and Carlos was like, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to have a set of offset small block Chevy roller lifters?" What he goes, "I sure do." And so he gave us a set, and we got some intake gaskets, and ended up making the rest of the trip. And they just wanted us to mail the lifters back to them when we got back. So I believe Carlos mailed them their lifters back. But yeah, we finished, and so that was a lot of fun. I mean, back then when there wasn't so many cars, Hot Rod Drag Week was really cool, man. I mean, in the middle of the night at one of the checkpoints, we rolled up out there. It was a nice, cool evening. We flipped out our cooler, got out our peanut butter and jelly and some milk, and sat there and had sandwiches, watch people roll through, and
that's awesome.
It was really cool.
That is super cool. That's super
so,
cool.
Then we did 2012, 13, and 14, all with Hot Rod Drag Week, and love the event, still do. I haven't been since 14. Matt invited us. We met Matt, I believe, in 14 when he was down in Tulsa when he brought the Hulk.
Yep.
And so then we kind of said, well, I'm a Midwest guy. I'd never been to the ocean until 2 years ago, and I'd never seen the mountains before. I mean, so he's like, yeah, we're going to do this Rocky Mountain, dude. And I told Wendy, go, man, it'd be so awesome. I get to see the Rocky Mountains. I'm like, I'm going to that,
Right.
We went, what we have? You was there that first year. We had like 60 people.
Yeah, it was something. I think we came up with 70 something, and I think 60 something finished.
Yeah, and had a really good time, and I know it wasn't the turnout Matt, was expecting, but as the years went on, I kept telling him, man, if you stay after what you're doing and doing what you're doing, the people are going to come.
Oh yeah,
and they did. I mean, because the first year of Hot Rod Drag Week in 07 or whatever it was, McConnell and all them went. I mean, they only had like 70 or 80 or something. I don't know the exact number, but it was really low for, like I said, in 2011. Which would have been 4, 5, 6 years they'd been going. They weren't selling out yet.
Right.
So.
And it was really kind of that 2014 area, right, where it started selling out, and that was kind of where it was at its pinnacle. And then, it's just, I mean, then that's where I met you guys and a lot of the 301 streetcar dudes and whatnot. And that's, it's instant friendship because I got a G body. There's a bunch of G bodies rolling around. We're having a pretty good time. And, turns out that you guys are, other than, kind of a little bit of an accent, pretty cool dudes. Like, all said and done. I mean, Carlos has got the thickest one for sure. But Brad, my co-pilot, the first time we met Carlos, he goes, man, that guy speaks like banjo, doesn't he?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I'd love to just heard Brad say that,
Yeah, and with his long hair, and then he would do his laugh for sure.
That's it.
That's pretty much it, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. But so
let's go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Let's bring in Wendy. Like, where do you kind of come into the fray here, and then realize that you married a total idiot that's going to spend all your money on race car parts, and like all of that, and then when do you get into the passenger seat of the car and realize that you yourself are also an idiot,
So our actual first date, of course, Zane was probably about 9 months old at this point in time. And our first date was at the drag strip. He took me to the drag strip. And then the next day after that, we went to a car show here in Sedalia. It was Carcraft.
Carcraft magazine.
Yep.
Heck
So
yeah. And
from
that
then
was in
on, you know.
Chevelle?
Yeah.
Well, no, he didn't take his Chevelle that year, I don't think.
No, I didn't have it. I didn't have motor in it.
Yeah. So, but we went, I think maybe even to watch Carlos run. So,
Okay.
yeah. And I knew absolutely, you know, nobody. Growing up as a kid, I always helped my dad on vehicles and, you know, done stuff like that. But as far as drag racing, I'd never really been around that part of it. And then I want to say my first drag week was in 2013, was the first time I ever went. And then, of course, you know, I was hooked because it was cool. You know, you're cruising down the road in a 72 Chevelle in the middle of nowhere, seeing all these cool sights. And it was just really neat. And I was hooked from there on. So.
And it totally is. I mean, that's the best part of this is that you get in your hot rod with your sweetheart and you see stuff you've never seen. You go through little towns you've never seen. It's such a huge pull for folks that haven't done it. And all of a sudden you get to do it. And it's a whole different thing. You just, even in your regular everyday driver, you don't do stuff like drive through the smallest little towns and sell out the gas station with gas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's a little different most wives because, like, if I'm kind of like, well, I'm kind of burned out, you know, maybe I ain't going to sign up this year. She's like, what? We're not going? I mean, she's really supportive in that way. I mean, we drag race a lot. I mean, we're going tomorrow night, next weekend. I mean, we try to stay after it pretty well, but.
Hell yeah.
So.
Hell yeah. That's.
Well, you know, like, I'm the one that gets to read the map whenever we do these events. And how I got roped into that, I have no idea. But it's just, that's the way it's been, I think, since day one. But they all call me the general. I don't know if you've heard that expression.
That is super funny. Alan just put up the general.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he also earlier said, I hope Carlos is watching.
So
we love you, Alan. No, Alan since he's a little kid.
Yeah. But I guess I kind of got that name because I try to keep everybody in line. And they always look to me for where we're going. And of course, when we have to do the roundabout 3 times or go the wrong way, I look at him as he's fussing at me and they'll just wave at me.
Is it all of the fingers or just the one?
No, it's all fingers.
Okay.
They would never do that because they don't want to have to read the map.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Alan says, if we didn't have Wendy the General for navigating, we would be screwed.
Most of them guys in the 301, you know, we travel in a pretty big pack. A lot of people hate that because we clog up the drag strip or the gas stations and stuff. But I mean, we don't do it because we're hauling parts for each other and all that. We do it because we're a bunch of buddies and we like to hang out with our buddies. I mean, we travel that way and it's just how we roll, you know. And if one person breaks down, we're all going to stop for 20 hours. It don't matter.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're going to fix your guys' stuff and you'll get it back going whenever you're going. And that, you know, no big deal.
Yeah.
Even if it's in my garage.
Yeah.
So, funny story, in 2013, I spent from Sedalia, Missouri to St. Louis, which is about 3 hours. It was the year Hank took his Mustang for the first year.
Okay. Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yep. And we was looking for a water pump. Couldn't find one anywhere. I spent 3 hours calling people, Googling, whatever, and I finally found one on the other side of St. Louis. And that's just kind of one of my jobs as well.
The parts wrangler.
Yes.
There's no
hotel wrangler.
Yeah,
right.
Hotels. that's a nightmare sometimes.
Oh yeah, and especially with a big group,
Yeah.
I could
But
see that.
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
have it any other way, I mean, because our group, it's a special group. And if it wasn't for our group, then it wouldn't make the events what they are either. So,
Right, exactly. And it's such a good group, and obviously I've had Carlos on. I'm gonna have Hank and I'm gonna have Alan, I think, at the same time. I was gonna try to do Alan and Austin, but that didn't work out. Timing and stuff wasn't working because Alan's working weird hours. So we're gonna make that one work. But I'm kind of trolling my way through the 301 guys for sure because you're so awesome. You guys are so great, and you bring all kinds of cool stuff. And it's always a pleasure to get to hang out with you guys. And that brings me to the boys, Zane and Austin. You guys got to go on the very first race week as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I started. Well, my first race week would have been in 2013, whenever we went to Bowling Green, Kentucky. It'd been the year I graduated. That'd been the first time I got to go with everybody.
Okay, all right, and that would have been drag week, and but then you went in 14 again?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, we went to the mountain.
Who were you with in 13 and with 14?
14 or 15. 15 was first or next week. Yeah, 15 would have been the second time I'd went. First year of race week.
Got it. And that would have been this one. Bam.
Yep.
Right there. And that's the early version of King Tut, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so talk to us about the combo in that car.
So the combo in that car, when we had first got it, actually we originally was going to be taking an OBS short bed Chevy with the blower motor and a small block Chevy blower with the blower on it.
And this is this one, I believe.
Yeah.
And thanks to Wendy for sending me those pictures. And so you guys built that motor, right?
We actually bought it from a friend of ours. We pulled the plugs out of it and just pouring antifreeze out of it. So we bought it from him cheap and pulled off. And he bought a truck complete. And electrolysis had 8 in the heads across to the exhaust ports. And so when we pulled the plugs out, just dumped antifreeze out of the plugs.
That's no good.
So we have a pretty good welder guy there where we worked. It's Hank's son-in-law. He welded the heads up, and then I believe Carlos milled them back down and was back running.
Nice. But so when you brought this one, what was the combo in that ride?
It was a 355 small block Chevy as a WEN 177 blower.
Oh, so it's that same motor?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one we took on the first year. Made all the way through. Last day, it pushed the tip of a push rod kind of in, so valve train was a little loose on one cylinder, making some noise. But it did finish, so.
Yeah, we built that car in what, a month?
Yeah.
Month or two.
We put the whole car together in a month.
Yeah.
And
electrical and all.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we have to give a shout out to Carlos because, I mean, Carlos does all of our machine work and I assemble all of our motors. And Carlos will stop working on his own stuff to make sure our stuff gets done. And that's why a lot of times Carlos ain't quite ready before race week because he's helping everybody else out, Yeah.
He mentioned that in his one as well. And just, he's just said, I end up working on everyone's stuff and then we just all get together and thrash mine together and then we go.
Yeah. So like on that 355 blower motor, the block was no good. The heads were junk. We welded the heads up. He machined the heads. He did another block for us. I put it together. And that little combo there, I think they ran in the 12s or something, 13s or something at race week. But when we got it home and did a little tuning on it, and we ended up putting a 100 horse nitrous plate on that, and that car had stock rear end, stock shocks, air shocks on the back, and it went 1077 is what they run with it.
Wow.
We had some air shocks that we bought at the Pep Boys one as soon as we got out to Colorado.
Yeah, we got to Colorado and it was rubbing on 275s real bad. So we went to Pep Boys and bought the red airbags and pumped them up as tight as they go. Every little bump is like his smoke out the whole inside of the car.
They actually came to us whenever Austin actually got the truck. And of course, that was like a year after his accident that he had. And it was like, we want to go on race week too. You know, after we started talking about it, it's like, all right, let's get this figured out and throw it together. So they
Chevelle
did
didn't have enough seats.
Yeah, Chevelle didn't have enough seats.
So you gotta bring your own stuff.
Yep. And at that time, Austin was 13, I believe. So
Okay. Yep, and obviously, you know, kind of young Austin was around for a while,
yep.
hanging out and doing race weeky things.
Normal state of race week right there.
But Zane has a long history in early racing as well, and you had a junior.
Yeah, I started racing. Let's see, when did I start? At the age of 7.
Yep.
Right, it was either right before 7 because I think we kind of pushed my age a little bit because we started racing a little bit before I was supposed to. But yeah, I've been racing since I was 7 in a junior drag school.
7.
Yeah, but I've been, like they said, I was pretty much grew up at the racetrack. We was there every Wednesday through Saturday. It seemed like every time they get off work, we was going to the racetrack.
And I love, honestly, I was going to save this one for later, but I love that you guys are sitting in the orientation you're sitting because I found this photo. And I mean, you can tell that that's you. I mean, that's pretty wild. Like you guys grew up, but you could tell that's the same 2 dudes hanging out. That's pretty awesome. I love it. And this one, I mean, I can't.
That's a year he was co-pilot with Mike.
Okay, all right.
Bench seat.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta love that. And then you went out and got yourself a driver's license.
Yeah.
In a race week shirt, by the way. So kudos for that. And then you came back with your own. I mean, you came back with the King Tut now.
Yeah.
And behind the wheel of it, and it showed up kind of like that.
Yeah, pretty similar.
And what was the combo when you brought it back with yourself behind the wheel?
It's actually a motor we just put in Dad's new car. It's a 434 cubic inch small block Chevy with a turbo 400. It had a 9-inch in it then, and fiberglass front end and stuff off another car that we'd bought. But then I bought the hood and just kind of pieced it together. I didn't like the black, so we painted it blue.
I like the blue a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But then you got pretty serious with this car. What is it still the same combo, or do you have some more kind of fun going on with that?
So we got to where we wanted the car to be safer, more solid, because we just wanting to go faster with it. We was wanting to put a turbo on it. We had sprayed some nitrous on that other motor, and nitrous so high and stuff. We just wanted to get out and messing with the bottles and everything.
Yep.
So cut the cage completely out of it, pulled it off the frame, put new body bushings, braced a bunch of stuff up. So now it's got a 750 cert cage.
Nice.
Got a fabricated 9-inch with a power glide. And it's got a LS stock block, stock crank, stock heads with rods and pistons in it with a single turbo.
There it is right there. I knew the answer to my question. I saw softball questions.
Yeah.
But so this what's what kind of power does it make? Does the thing run yet? Are we have you made laps with it?
Oh yeah, we've been putting laps on it like a bracket car.
That's what I'm talking about.
probably
How's
got-
it run?
So we finally got to the track, I think last June or July. And we're probably creeping on 175, 200 passes on it since then.
Ooh, wow.
So I've been 860 in the quarter, like a 547 in the eighth.
Nice.
So, and
Hell
that's with a 411 rear gear, and it kind of just levels out on the quarter mile, kind of quits pulling. But we run a lot of 8th mile stuff with it. We've been running some local like index racing stuff with it.
Yeah. And it turned out great, man. I mean, it looks so good. And I didn't even believe, I mean, all you guys keep gussying up your cars. And I don't even know, like Alan brought his car and he's like, that's the same car, right? And I was like, no.
White.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? But you guys have some clean stuff, and this thing turned out really, really good. And kudos on that car, man. It is awesome.
I actually
He's
put
put a
the
lot
steel
of hours into it.
I actually put the steel front end back on it because we ran the exhaust out the fenders and stuff, and I kind of did some math on the weight. And by the time I put a fiberglass front bumper on it, it's a 5-pound difference.
Nice.
So.
And then it's steel, and it's not
Yeah.
getting chipped and stupid crap like that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So Lewis, you built a new car, and you're putting the Chevelle back on the street, you said. So I know you've got a G body, and it's this car. Tell us about this one real quick, and then we'll go back to what the Chevelle's kind of turning into.
Okay. That car there is a car my dad painted for a friend of mine 20 years ago. And it had been through a couple people and a fella that died. And another friend of ours in the 301, CJ Phillips, bought that yellow Malibu, and he had it. And he was racing it some. It's got just a 6-point roll bar in it. Had a 9-inch in it, a small block. He ended up going a different direction. And I told Carlos I was kind of looking for another car just to build for a drag and drive car, so my Chevelle didn't get as much road time and tore up, and he's like, man, I think CJ wants to sell that Malibu. I was like, oh yes. I called CJ, and I was like, and the funny thing is I bought the rear end out of that car about 7-8 months before that. And I called him, and he goes, yeah, man, I'd sell you that. I said, what would you have to have for it? He's like, $700. I was like, oh, I'm on my way.
All day. I mean,
yeah. So me and Austin cruised over there and loaded up on a trailer, and I already had the rear end that come out of it. We redid a little. It's still stock suspension stuff on the back. We put Andy roll bar on it. I braced things up a little bit better. Redid the wheel tubs and stuff in it. Did the interior pretty decent in it. It ain't got a back seat in it, but it's just got like a 6-point roll bar in it. We put Austin's old 434 in it. It's 14.5-1, and yeah, we drive it on race week.
Hell yeah.
It's got a really big nitrous cam in it, so it bleeds off the cylinder pressure. So you can run it on 91. Now, it doesn't like it, but it will run on 91.
And you can't get snotty with it or nothing.
Right, yeah. So, so I put that in there, and when I go to the track, I put some race fuel in it, dumped some race fuel in it, but we took it, and it run a 10, 26, or 8, something like that. NA. I didn't put no nitrous or anything like that on it. And we threw that car together in about 2 months.
Hell yeah.
But we put a lot of hours in that 2 months.
Well, yeah. I mean, 2 months straight is still 2 months.
Right, yeah.
But it turned out good. That car's awesome. And
yeah, we're really happy with it.
And I like the 6-point. If you're going to do a, kind of a street car.
Right.
10.0 is a pretty respectable quarter-mile street car, and I mean, you can get pretty snotty with it on an 8th mile track, even if you need to or want to.
Yeah.
If your kid up there starts getting cocky and you need to put another 250 at it.
Hey, I'm NA now, and he's got that turbo car on methanol, and I keep offering to race him just him on the gates, not turn the boost controller on. He won't do it.
Why won't he do it? Come on, man.
I don't know, man.
That's got double the motor.
That's LS turbo over there, bro.
Yeah.
That thing makes 7 pounds on the gates.
But 7 pounds, it probably still makes 700.
Yeah. I mean, that motor he was telling you about in that car on methanol, JP, one of the sponsors there at Rocky Mountain, tuned by JP. We took it down there and he tuned it, and that pretty much stock 5.3 on methanol with just valve springs on the heads and rods and pistons in it. It made right at 1,000 horsepower and 1,050 foot-pounds of torque. That's what it made.
It's amazing. It's just. I was talking earlier to Eric Yost. These new combos, it's like cheating. I mean, back in the day, it would take us. I mean, you had a car that was so raunchy, you couldn't do anything with it, and it ran 1250.
Yeah.
And then these dudes show up with this stuff, and they bolt a turbo on it with a stock block, and it makes 1,000 horsepower, and it runs 850, and you're like, well, I quit. I'm done. Like,
yeah, I mean. The hood on Austin's car, Zeus tabs on, so it's a pain in the ass to take on and off. I kid you not, we will go to test and tunes, and he'll put 12 runs on that car, and we never even take the hood off of it.
Right.
Ever. I mean, we just go and he'll run, 550s, 580s, whatever we're wanting to run that night, and just in the eighth, and just never take the hood off the car.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. We don't go through any spark plugs hardly. I mean, it's just a whole different world than nitrous.
And coming from a nitrous dude, where it's just, I mean, that's your fusible link. You tune till you kill one, and you back it down one, and that's where you're at.
And he's been running a lot of the index 580, 60 index stuff like that. And I never knew you could bracket race a turbo car. That thing is deadly consistent once you get it dialed in.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Which, what was his name? Walton, that always run the 10-0 class at Race Week. Josh Walton?
Yes.
He had a turbo, and I always wondered how that turbo car was so consistent. But I see how he does it now. I mean, that's a really good combination. So.
It's super good. It's super good.
Yeah.
Where is the Chevelle moving to? What's kind of the plan with it?
Well, right now, the motor that's in it has been in that car since 2012, and it is just wore out. I mean, it's got so many nitrous runs on it, and it's still, it's never hurt it. And so I'm going to pull the roll bar back out of it. I got my grandkids now. I'm going to put some seat belts in the back. I'm going to change it around where it's a little more street drivable so they can go to the cruise nights and stuff with me in that thing. So
good job, Zane.
That's what I built. I just built another drag and drive car for that kind of stuff. The Chevelle's got a lot of sentimental value to it. A friend of mine had that before I had it when I was 18, when they moved here from California. I bought the car from him. He moved to Louisiana, went around a little bit. They come back, and he slipped and fell on some ice in his driveway after work one morning, hit his head, and he ended up passing away.
Oh.
So
that's a shame.
And I'm still in really good contact with his mom and dad. They live here in Sedalia, and his brother. And, they want that car back so bad. And I told Wendy, if I was ever sell that car, which I won't, because I got, I've had it for so many years now.
Right.
But, they would definitely get that car back.
For sure. I mean, that would be the only one that would make sense.
Yeah. And the dad tells me, he comes on cruise nights. He's got a lot of cars. They actually built a replica car of my car in memory of their son. And he told me, he goes, he watches Race Week on the live feed. He goes, every time you make a pass in that car, I just cringe, hoping you don't crash it,
Right.
Just praying you don't crash it. So I was like, so I built another car. I'm going to put it back on the street and just drive it and, just have fun with it.
Yep.
He's offered every winter to take that thing completely, fully detailed, scrape rubber out from underneath it, put it up on jack stands every winter and just clean it.
Yeah. That kid's dad wants to store it at his house, clean it for me, just do whatever. They just want to be part of it,
That's super awesome. And speaking of a Race Week again, kind of touching on it, how many trophies do you have? How many wins? How many podiums did you get out of that orange car?
In Hot Rod Drag Week, I got a second place and a third place in a street race. One was Power Outer and one was NA each year. Then in Rocky Mountain Race Week, I think I've won 2 of them. Podiumed a couple times, I think. I'm not really exactly sure.
I
3 or
think
4
that's
times probably.
I think that's right, and I would need to check it, but I mean, I think 2 wins, and I think 2 or 3 more podiums. I mean,
Yeah.
bravo, sir! Like that's no joke, and I mean, guys that have done Rocky Mountain Race Week get it because the difference of the altitude makes it such a different thing to index race a car. Index racing a car at the same exact track, you build data, you're totally fine. But we make a huge 4,000 foot elevation swing, and to make a car run 11.0 at every single track that's a feat, man, and that's not stuff that most people can do. And that's not stuff a lot of people can really claim, and especially as close as you've gotten, especially those couple of wins. Kudos to you, my friend.
You know, I'd never been in altitude. You know, that's the first time I'd seen the mountains in 15. And we got up there to Vandermeer, and me and Carlos had his wagon there, and I made my pass. I got back, and Carlos goes, "How'd it feel?" I said, "It felt like I was tied to a stump." I actually, that first year, just on the motor, I lost about a second and a half. And the funny thing is, like you said, the next year when I went back, I didn't lose anything hardly. The air was just that much different that day.
Right.
It was crazy.
It's insane how it works. And Austin, you'll see with a turbo car, it doesn't make that much of a difference because you bring your own atmosphere. Nitrous is kind of the same way. You bring your own atmosphere with you, but the motor makes what the motor makes, and then you just add the nitrous on it. With the turbo, you can make the motor make whatever you want. So, I mean, it's just over whatever you start at, and our starting KPA is 72. You guys are used to 99. So, as long as you can make the thing spool, then it works.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, there's Alan. Until it's time to spool. Ha!
Yeah, probably about right. It always works good till it don't.
That's right. But that's why God invented dry nitrous.
Right. Yeah.
But so I'm gonna run through a few questions, and these will probably take a while because I'm gonna ask everyone questions, and it's gonna be super awesome because I want to get kind of everyone's perspective on all of these. And then we'll if you're in the comments, if you're on the live stream, post comments up, and I'll start putting those up, and we will start getting those things answered as well. And we're gonna have a blast for the second half of our show here. So that's cool drink.
Cool.
All right, let's get it started here. So these ones they're really broad, so I know they're hard to answer, but we'll start with Wendy. What's your best memory from a drag week or a Rocky Mountain Race Week?
Oh, geez.
And I know there's so many, but
I would say I think one of my fondest memories would be on the first year when we went up in the mountains and there was still snow on the mountains, and just experiencing that in the Chevelle, I think was one, and then knowing my kids were behind me and, riding in the car with Lewis and just the whole atmosphere. I was just in awe of being able to do that as a family.
I actually have the video you sent me of driving the Chevelle through the mountains. So that's perfect. Great segue. Great job. I'm going to play that real quick. It mutes all of our mics, so it's like 52 seconds, and everyone to get to watch and hear it. So here's the Chevelle cruising through the mountains. I don't know if this is the first one, but it's the Chevelle cruising through the mountains anyway. Now that's cool.
Yeah, drinks.
Drink. It's just amazing. And I love how you goose it a couple of times in the tunnel because you have to.
You
I mean,
have to.
because that's just, I mean, Alan says the same thing. How could you not rev it up in
Yeah.
the tunnel? And Ed Hoingberg says literally cruising through the mountains because there's a bunch of tunnels we run through in the process of running around in the actual mountains with your Chevelle with your sweetheart by your side. How amazing is that?
I mean, how often or how cool is it just to be able to do something in a classic vehicle like that?
Right. And like you said, with your whole family, like
Yeah.
you've got your husband, you've got your kids. What else do you need in the whole world?
Right, exactly. Except for 2 grandbabies now. I mean,
Well,
we have to add them now. So,
good job, Zane.
and my daughter-in-law and Austin's girlfriend. So,
Absolutely. I mean, gotta give them shouts out. So
yes,
yes. Thank you for letting us be idiots.
About them.
Lewis, what do you think
Yes.
your favorite memory?
Man, there's been a lot. Probably one of my favorite memories would be when Fred broke down. He's our other relative from Texas. When Fred broke down,
Someone's got to claim him.
We's up in the mountains, and he was broke down, and we just standing there, just admiring the snow on the mountains and stuff while they was working on his stuff. Just everybody being together. If you've ever been by where we pit, we'll all be pitted together, and we're liable to have people's wives, little kids, friends that drive just out and follow along just to watch. I mean, it ain't odd to see 5, 6 little kids running around our pits. I mean, we bring the whole families with us when we come.
Well, and that's no joke, because if I need something, I'm looking for you guys. And I'll just cruise over and I'll find the general, and I'll say I need sunscreen, and she's like, "Honey, I got 50, I got 30, I got 15, I got oil. I mean, what do you need? I got it all. And while you're here, why don't you grab yourself a hot dog and there's some chips, and actually, you know what? Sit down. You look like you need a drink."
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my memories. One of my biggest memories is, the couple times that I won. But some of my better moments is meeting people like you, Matt and June, and their kids were little, whenever we first got to doing this. So they've watched our kids grow up, and we've watched their kids grow up. And just everybody, they're together. I mean, that's probably a big part of our group. And there was probably people there that aren't part of our group that we got them into our picture to be part of our group,
So, you're not allowed to not be in our group if you're hanging out with us right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we do it,
Hell yeah. What about you guys? Zane, what's your favorite memory?
Man, it's pretty much just, it's every family's dream to all have the same hobby and just hang out together. And that's, you spend your pastime just racing. So I'd say that first year, me and Austin getting that car running, we're just jumping in together, me and him. We've always kind of bickered, in the past, but whenever we first got the Regal running, I'd say that's like our biggest bonding moment. And then, past years, just me and him cruising down the road. And then the first year, I'd say, is probably the best memory when we all made it to the mountain at the very last day, and we all got to park the cars in front of the mountain and just have that family picture moment where we all had made it. Mine and Austin's first year actually taking a car and then getting to hang out with our parents, just a great memory.
Hell yeah. And I got to finish up. Austin.
Man, I'd say I can't remember. I think it might have been 16 or 17. I think it was 16. We got out to Raceway. I was going to ride in the back of the Chevelle. I didn't know Fred. And Fred come on Race Week for the first time. I didn't know Fred from Adam. My mom and dad talked to him a little bit in the staging week. And so we made it to About the first checkpoint, and tires were rubbing and stuff on the Chevelle. So I hopped in with Fred and rode with him for the rest of the week. Man, I tore some stuff up, but we sure talked about a lot of stuff too.
I'm pretty sure Fred had AC at the beginning of that week.
Broke his window crank.
That's a good reason to ride with Fred, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
we had a cooler in the back.
he didn't
Austin cleaned him out on snacks. It's okay.
It's a pretty nice ride.
hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome. We'll just do the same round robin. And if you tell me about the one that got away. What car did you sell that you shouldn't have sold? Wendy.
Oh gosh, I guess that would have been like my first car. I wish now I would have kept it. It was an '84 Grand Prix.
Oh, dude, a G body.
Yeah, it was a G body, and it had the two-tone paint. It was blue, light blue on top, and dark blue on the bottom.
I can't believe you broke all of Fred's stuff. I don't know who that is. I'll bet you $1,000 that's Carlos.
Probably.
But no, a G body. That's odd. And you guys are. It all went full circle. Everyone's got G bodies now.
Yep.
Even you.
Even me. And you're putting the Plymouth on an S10, which is basically a leaf sprung G body on the whole front end's G body.
Yep.
You guys are smart. You got a little fleet going on there.
Keep it simple.
Lewis, but what about you? What's the one that got away?
The car I wish I would have kept. My dad got it for me when I was 15, and we put a motor and stuff in it. Super clean car. It was a 1964 Chevy Impala.
Oh.
White with black interior, no rust on the outside, Power Glide 283, just a cruiser. But, I was so into racing and stuff, that was just a big boat car. So I sold it to buy the 64 Chevy 2 Nova, which was, quite a bit faster.
Right.
And
right.
I wish I wouldn't have ever sold that Impala. I'd love to have one of them cars again. That's what I'm wanting to buy again. I'm wanting another Impala. But that's the one that totally got away from me because it was a really nice car. And I just thought it was a big boat car then. I wasn't into it at all. So
while I was Facebook stalking and finding pictures, I saw that your dream car is a 63 Impala.
Yeah.
So why the 3 instead of the 4 if the 4 is the history?
Because I like the looks of the 63s a little sleeker, not as boxy. So I like the 62s or 3s a little better than the 64.
I get that. See, I dig deep, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have never guessed you would have known that. But a 63 Impala Super Sports I'd really like to have.
Oh, and someone says that thing was granny fresh.
Oh yeah.
That's who I think is Carlos, but
yeah,
just
probably
as Facebook user.
He's one of the only people that probably remember the car.
Right. So it's probably him. So Carlos, drink.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Zane, which cars you sell that you shouldn't have?
Well, I've been through three project cars now. But we bought an S10 from one of our friends. It's like an 82 square body. It is tubbed out, big tire. We were gonna fix it up and do it. It just needed a lot of work, but I kind of wish I would have kept it and made that my actual first drag car. But yeah, I think if I could find another square body S10 around the 80s, 80 to 83, I'd probably buy one and try to fix it up.
Shoot, there's
make
one.
us a little street cruiser out of it.
There's one right up the street. It's red and white. It's
Right
got the
up the hill?
white stripe down the side. It's the short bed. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even move. It's got shit in the bed, just chilling.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I think I know the dude that owns it, so I'll put in a good word for you.
Make a trip up the hill.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, you're coming up anyway, right?
That S10 is actually what that blower motor come out of.
Yeah, it actually made the full circle back to us because the blower motor came out of that Tub Desk 10, and then we ended up buying it.
It's funny how that works.
We're
It is.
stupid. We're stupid.
I rebuy all my crap I sell too. It's just, I mean, you realize like, man, that thing was good,
Yeah.
but whatever.
It all comes back eventually.
It just does.
A friend of ours actually bought that blower motor, and it's still running and going.
Yeah.
Okay.
That red Corvette. He's been to race week once.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was still the same combo and everything. Same 10-pound boost pulley. I think he may have put nitrous on it too, but yeah, he ran it forever. He still does. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Oh, yeah. Brad says he's seen it. This is Brad. That's a clean truck. It's just waiting for you guys to buy it. Dude, I'm telling you, it's rust-free Colorado truck. I mean, it's when you're out here, I will go and take you to the guy's front door. And then Austin, I mean, you're like, you're pretty much like 14 still, right? So you haven't owned any cars but yours. But
Yeah.
what do you have one? Do you have one that got away?
No, not really. I mean, I've had the Regal since 2015 of race week. So
Hell yeah! So
And it was almost the one that got away, because when we decided to totally redo the car, he was considering just selling it and starting with a whole different car. And I was like, man, you don't want to do that. Believe me, I've sold my first cars. You're going to want to keep that damn Regal.
Yep. And I got my first car back. It was a Monza, and it's at Vince Rui's place, getting 850 cage put in it right now.
Nice.
Because whatever. I let it go when I bought my house, and I like, man, if I ever get that car back, and I sure as shit, I found that same car. So
When's it going to be on the track?
I don't know. Vince said he's going to try to finish it so I can get it onto Bandamere before it closes.
That'd be cool.
So we will see. It's just a really, really mild small block Chevy. It's a stock bottom end, but the Vortex, so it's a roller motor. But it's got some nice blueprint heads on it, and it might run 12s. I don't know. I don't even care. But as long as it can get back on there, then that's kind of the key. But what is, and we'll start back up with Wendy, your favorite we can say drag and drive now. I have on here endurance because I was trying to avoid all that. But what's your favorite drag and drive car or driver that isn't you or Lewis or your kids?
Oh, Lord.
Everyone else can start thinking about theirs now.
Yeah.
So, my heart is with the 55 Chevy trucks.
I like that.
Yeah. But I also like the 40 models and, the early 50s too. So
I like that.
I don't know. That's where I go to is the 50s.
I'm more looking for a dude that you've cruised with, that you like his car, you like his program, you like her program, like Carlos. Are you really into Carlos's G-body stuff? Are you really into Larry Larson? Who's a person you've kind of rubbed shoulders with that you admire, that you like, that isn't you?
That's hard because I talk to everybody, especially when I'm up there doing pictures and stuff. So it's like I don't know. That's a hard question.
We're going to come back. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to swing back. If you don't have an answer, that's fine. But I'm going to swing back to you. Okay. I'm not letting you off the hook that easy. But Lewis.
Yeah.
What's your favorite car that's not yours or driver that's not you or your kids?
Well, let's see. I like cars that really look like cars that are really fast, and there's been a few of them. I like Thompson Chevelle.
Oh, dude.
I think his name's Corey Thompson.
Corey.
I like
yep.
that.
That's
I like that
67, and it's like
Yeah.
3,800 pounds. And
Yeah.
he ran 193 miles an hour at Pueblo.
I know that's really impressive. I really like that car. Probably him and Daryl Yost with the Chevelle. I really like that car. So
especially when it had the stick in it for me. And sneak peek, I've talked to Daryl. I'm gonna have him on. That's cool drink.
I can still remember Daryl's first gear baking gears.
Oh yeah,
Fuel dumping out of the back of it. Every time you grab a gear, it's just fuel dumping out of it.
Oh yeah, and it would do. I raced him one time, and I think it was at actually Grand Junction, but I saw the entire whole side of his car, and then saw the whole side of his car again, and it was him changing gears.
Wow.
It was the wildest thing I ever saw. And he was in the left lane and at the wall and back straight and then back. It was insane. I couldn't believe. And we got done and I was like, dude, you made 1,645 feet out of 1,320. What happened there, man? But that car is wicked. Zane, same question.
I'd have to say, hanging out, just like actually talking, having a good time. It wouldn't be a specific car because Fred's got 10 billion cars that he brings. But hanging out with Fred, man, it's always a good time. He's always got something cool he's driving. It's always unique. It's just something you never see, like that damn Frankenstein car he's got. Who would ever thought to bring something like that to a drag week or a race week or any of that? I think at one point in time, his passenger about fell out the door because it flew open down the road.
I told him at one point, I was like, what are you doing here? And he said, I might be the smartest dude here. You want to know why? Every girl asked for a ride in this.
Yeah.
He gave every girl a ride in it.
Fred,
I bet you
we
did.
about Fred, man. He is not shy. He'll walk up to the most random person in the world, never met him until that minute, and he gives him a hug and acts like he's known him for 10 years.
Yeah, and I was talking to Carlos because I was like, I reached out to him and I was like, Fred, I got to have you on because could you imagine Fred for an hour on this?
Oh my God.
It would be insane, right? And he
you
was
couldn't
like,
do it.
and he totally would, but he was like, is that something I can do on a flip phone?
He
I was like,
he just upgraded to the smartphone.
did he?
Yeah,
I'll have to reach back out to him because he was like, I don't know how in the hell I would do that. But then Carlos said, if you asked him, he would probably just drive up to your house and do it in your living room.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
And
he just comes up to Missouri at the most random times. All of a sudden, hey, Fred's in town for the weekend.
I love Fred, man. That dude is wild. I mean, just wild. He was wearing like parachute pants one time and he started dancing.
Yeah.
Fred, what in the, I mean, it was like at a checkpoint, some random checkpoint. And I'm like, why? I mean, he's basically in his underwear. You're in your sleeping pants, Fred.
Yeah.
Everyone knows your sleeping pants. Come on, man. And I think he was in his little hot rod. They had the little mini hot rod. As the
root beer.
Yeah, he calls that one root beer.
Yeah, that's. I'm a Fred fan. I agree with that a lot. I think Fred's awesome.
Man, we rolled up to a gas station one day. Fred got out. He went over to the ice cooler and sat down in the ice cooler. Everybody walking by looking at him. He got his blood all over somebody's ice,
Oh, God.
You never know with Fred.
You never know with Fred. That is true. So, Austin, same question.
I'd probably say Vince Rue's little Chevy 2 Nova.
Oh, yeah.
Air conditioning, flat hood.
Oh, yeah. Still runs 850.
That thing looks the most street until it goes down the drag strip. It's just fast.
Right. And like the way it's tubbed and stuff, like the wheels don't look like they're really, really wide and stuff. That's a cool car. And one of the reasons I'm having him work on my car is have you ever seen the cage work in that car?
Mm-mm.
Next time you're around it, take a look at just the door bars. His TIG welding is like, it's pretty amazing. We're almost done. We're getting around down to the end here. So if you're watching here and you want to know some more about the Martins and Zane and whatnot, and throw some questions out in there into the comments, and I've got a few more that we'll run through. And if no one else has anything else, then we'll probably call it a day here in about 5-10 minutes or so. We'll see how it goes. But again, thank you guys. This has been so much fun.
It has.
Wendy,
Yes.
what's your favorite racetrack?
On race week?
Period.
I'm going to have to say Vandermeer.
Hell yeah.
Because just the way, I know the pits are a little off for some with the hills and stuff, but the way you can watch, you can stand in the staging lanes at the top of the hill and watch the whole track, and see the cars at the finish and see the times at the end. And it's just pretty cool there.
That's Vandermeer, by the way. And if you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard, Vandermeer's closing,
which is sad.
Super sad. Yeah, I bought my house where it's at because of its relation to Vandermeer.
Right.
I mean, I'm literally, as you guys know, I'm like 5 minutes from the racetrack, and so yeah, with it closing, I'm like, Missouri. I'll call you guys.
We have lakes. We have lots of lakes.
Absolutely. Lewis, your favorite racetrack?
My favorite racetrack that I've raced at, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Beach Bend Raceway.
Love it.
It's a really cool place. They got a fun park there. They got a river there. They got campground there. I mean, they got a drifting track there. I just really liked it down there. It was really neat.
And then you get a bonus question, by the way. Alan wants to know if you're going to run the 10.0 index with the new car or if you're actually going to run it.
I don't know exactly what I'm going to run it in yet. We've already maybe been doing plans to switch the engine combination up in it already. So I don't know where it'll be at by the time I do race week again or whatever, but it probably won't. Yeah, it probably won't be in that configuration right there when it comes to race week.
That's all right. Zane, your favorite racetrack?
I'd have to say my favorite racetrack, which is not around anymore, but that's where I grew up, would have been KCIR. It was our local track for the longest time. It's where I grew up. Where I started all my cars, playing Hot Wheels on the gravel.
And that's Kansas City International Raceway.
Yep.
And then you guys should be kind of in line for that new Flying H, right?
That's right.
Yep.
So that's exciting, and obviously just came out that NHRA met with those guys and got them all sanctioned, and they're expecting to have that thing done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
We're talking October.
So Matt Frost, if you're watching,
exactly,
just letting you know that if when Vandermeer goes
like
away,
a new destination track.
you didn't hear it from me.
Yep.
That sounds like Flying H and then back down to Ozark Raceway. Or P.
I loved Ozark. That was such a good track.
It's a neat little track.
When somebody asked me my favorite racetrack, it's Ozark. It's all the log cabin like buildings and stuff all over the place. It's the cool OG kind of outlaw track, and I went there before all the changes in ownership and whatnot even, and I've heard it's gotten even better. So that may be a thing here coming up very shortly.
Yeah, Blake Hughes with 417 Motorsports and Craven Moore bought that track this year, and they have done some really awesome things in there. It's gonna end up being a really nice place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out. I had Eric Yost on, but I think motorsports people in motorsports tracks is only a good thing. They know what we need, what we do, what we, crave. But at the same time, he can kind of figure out where that line sits of, can we make it this good and can we still make it profitable? I think it's a really, really, really good asset to the racetrack community. Austin, what's your favorite racetrack?
I'd have to say Pueblo. It's kind of a neat little track. Just kind of out in the middle of the desert, it seems like, and dirt bike trails crossing as you're going in, and definitely wasn't what we was expecting pulling in.
No.
Some snakes.
It was all fun
It's
and games
okay.
till the wind picked up.
Yep.
Well, that windstorm was something else.
I mean, wild, right? And sand blasting everyone's car, and
we had when I first started, car even with the windows rolled up.
Right.
When that first started, some locals were like, "Yeah, man, these last like 10 or 15 minutes." What was that one? Like an hour or something?
At least.
Yeah.
It was
like 10 or 15 minutes, it'll be gone.
And then that track also has the road course on it. So funny story, the very first time I raced at that track, it was under different management and the city owns it or whatnot, but they had a different guy putting the cones out where you're supposed to kind of take that return road and you have to cross a couple of dirt paths. Well, I thought there's no way. They didn't have the cones out at the time. So I'm like, there's no way I'm supposed to cross the dirt, right? And I ended up on the road course with my Monza. And it was, it was a total pile of junk, so it was overheating. And I'm like out, and the time slip booth guy is like, "Hey!" And I was like, "I'm at this point. It's a big section of dirt for me to cross to get over there." So I just drove the rest of the way around to the staging lanes, and then drove the car back eventually and got my time slip. But yeah, they were like, "No, you have to turn, and then you go." And I was like, "I first time here. You got to let me know."
Yeah.
That's a hell of a shutdown. Get on the brakes and automatically get ready to take a turn.
You're into the road course, turn number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then dudes, real fast dudes like Larry Larson and those kind of guys don't realize there's another turnoff, but you almost have to stop to get to it. Like it's like a 120-degree turn. It's wild. So so if you're watching and you're going to Pueblo for the first time, there's 2 turnoffs. You don't need to take that first one. If you're going like 150. A couple more questions. And actually, I've got one more. I got a bonus question for Austin. Red Hat Scotty wants to know what King Tut weighs.
With me in it, weighs 3,200.
That's
3,180.
That's pretty light, actually, for
It's
a G.
It's aluminum block LS.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Maybe Red Hat wants to get a little bit of a little action on that. Maybe that's what he's looking for, because he's got a turbo LS in his Fox.
Which one?
So, I don't know. He's got a couple of them. So yeah, well, maybe that's what he's prying a little bit. He's trying to get a little bit of something for next time that thing's out. We'll do the same deal. We'll go around. These are going to get it's going to get quick and then it's going to get slower. So this will be a quick blast here, but Wendy.
Yeah.
Trailer or no trailer?
Oh.
Red Hat.
Trailer.
Put up the eyeballs. So Wendy says trailer.
Yep.
Lewis, trailer or no trailer?
I prefer no trailer.
Zane?
Nah, no trailer. I think everything you need should be able to go in the trunk.
Austin?
I'm going to go with no trailer as well.
Nice. Tom Starr says trailer. All right, now we get into it a little bit, and try to keep this to one thing. And I know that's going to be tough. So Zane and Austin, I'm coming to you last, so you got a little bit of time to think about it. But Wendy, advice for newbies.
sunscreen, lots of water, and Gatorade, and snacks, because you never know when you're going to be sitting on the side of the road for X amount of hours.
Especially
And maybe
with
some
them-
toilet paper.
toilet paper is a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Lewis.
Because you never know. That gas station burrito.
Oh, if you got to go, you got to go. I mean, sometimes it's
Right.
going to happen whether you want it to or not. And so Lewis, advice for newbies.
Respect the staging lane guy. I mean, respect when they call the classes. Don't just bombard the lanes. Actually, in the last year or so, with the guy that was doing it, it really got a lot better. But sometimes a lot of the newbies, they just want to go up and run 25 runs a day, and it gets crazy up there.
That's Ron Connor.
Everybody gets a run. Just wait till you're called.
Right. We got plenty of time. We're gonna make this happen. I promise. We'll get through it together.
Yeah. Main thing is just pay attention.
So that's Ron Connor at the staging lanes. Ron, and then Brian, who's Matt's brother, and they have really streamlined that deal. I was trying to do it from the tower, and there's just no way I can't run down and hit somebody in the forehead with a ball peen hammer and then run back up and continue to, do some announcing. So,
somebody should give Ron a hug.
Somebody should give, and you know what? Oh, that's funny. That's Tom Stark. That's his father-in-law. So,
yeah. He did an awesome job. I mean, he totally unshit showed anything that would have been shit showed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right. It just turned out so much better. And everyone you get your one pass, and that's it. And if you come in after, he tells me, hey, dude, you came in after. And even if it's his son-in-law, like, dude, I heard you say you closed the lanes and Tom's here, and like, let's let him make his pass. But he, what do you guys think? And then we're like, hey, Tom, tough luck, man. And he's like, I don't care. I got to try out like my second or third kit or whatever he had. So he was really, really excited to have a kind of a throwaway run where he could kind of throw the wick at it and see what the old 55 would do with the stick in it.
Cool. But he's doing an awesome job. So.
Hell yeah. Old Ron Connor. Thanks, Ron. Zane, advice for newbies.
Man, just make sure you got the spare essential parts. I mean, there ain't nothing worse than getting out. I mean, fuel pump, something small you can throw in anywhere in the car. Or like carburetor, just anything essential you could ever think of. Just, it never hurts to have an extra.
I say that a lot, and Brad will tell people too. It's one of my Army sayings, and it's 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So if you only got 1, you ain't got none. You better have 2.
Yeah. I mean, half the time, we bring a spare transmission, converter, carburetor. I think we could almost rebuild a whole motor if we wanted to.
Yeah, every time except when Sleeper blows his crap up, and then you don't bring a transmission that 1 year.
Yeah,
that's 1 year.
and that's the year he's like, man, I brought this transmission for 5 years in a row. I've never once used it. Bang, blows his transmission up. Freaking Sleeper. And then Austin, what's your advice for newbies?
I'd say make as many friends as you can.
That's a
more
good
friends
one.
You got, kind of more, not really support, but more people that's willing to help you if you get in a pinch or something like that.
Well, one of the old adages is life is the relationship business. And if you're not in the relationship business, you're going out of business. So if you grow your width of people, then you grow your brand, if you will. I mean, you just have so many more places you can go to get stuff done. And like I was able to move a 24-foot enclosed trailer from Indiana to Colorado without really much trouble because I just got out to my group of people and said, "Hey, are you moving something anytime soon?" Yeah, totally. I can bring back your trailer. That's what this community is about. You make these friends, and all of a sudden, you got people bringing crankshafts across the country to get looked at. That happened with the 301 people. Carlos brought me a crankshaft via the Nelsons, so that was pretty cool. Drink. But yeah, you end up with this extended family kind of all over the place. And again, we don't really get to spend much time talking to each other. And all of a sudden, we're an hour and 21 minutes into learning so much about you guys. And it's been so much fun, guys. And I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. We're glad you had us on.
Well, heck yeah. But that said, I'm out of questions, and I'm going to run through my last couple real quick here. So if you got comments, just go ahead and throw them up there. But Lewis and Wendy, updates for kind of what you got going for your ride, what we're going to see kind of coming next from you guys. Not necessarily if it's a drag and drive endurance stuff, great. If it's local 301 stuff, great. But what do you guys got kind of coming this year and in the near future?
Well, I will say on October 14th, instead of doing a car show this year, we are going to hold a shootout at Mocan Dragway.
Oh.
So that will be our big fundraiser for the year. We used to do the car show. We decided to change it up, and we're going to do the shootout. We'll have some fun classes like biggest wheelie, coolest car. Of course, we're going to have the kids involved. Then we'll have a shootout at the end of the day. I think we've got a tailgate class.
Small tire, big tire.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we'd like to invite everybody to come and do that. All the money that we raise, we put back into the community here around Sedalia. We do our local Christmas campaign. We buy toys for kids at Christmas. Our Christmas parade, we hand out over 1,000 Hot Wheels during the Christmas parade.
That is so cool.
We help out families that's had accidents or fires or just anything like that. So that's what our group is about. That's what the 301 is about, is helping,
Nice.
People that need it.
And where can people get more information? And if they're not kind of watching this, where can they find all of the schedule for the 301 and what you guys have kind of going on?
So it is on our 301 Streetcars page. We do a monthly cruise at Goodies, usually the fourth Saturday of the month, and then we'll post about that shootout on there. Mocan Dragway, they'll be sharing stuff about it as well when it gets a little closer to that time.
Very cool. So 301 Streetcars on Facebook. You can find that, and you can see all the pretty much if you've got a G-body, you're in the 301 Streetcars. So I'm in the 301 Streetcars as well, which is super awesome. So thanks for letting me in because I have a G-body, and I once went to Goodies, and it was super awesome.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a cruise night, man.
Yeah, let me tell you, the
whole town showed up.
It was insane. If you don't know, in I think it was 2017, I believe, something
18.
like that. 18. We ended up out in Missouri, so we had the Rocky Mountain. This is before we did the two of them, but we wanted to kind of spread our wings a little bit, and we ended up out in Missouri and even in Arkansas for a little portion of that. But we had a checkpoint at Goodies, and we got coupons for free food, which was, or not free food, maybe. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was awesome. It was super cool. But it ended up as a huge drive-in, like cruise-in kind of deal. Everyone got meals. We were all sitting around and having a good time after just getting baked. And we ran through like the biggest monsoon there was in the entire world on that trip. So we had a really good time at Goodies.
Yeah.
We bought all the car drivers and co-pilots meals. Yeah.
Yep. So they were free. Yeah. So
yep, they were free.
So you guys covered that, and that was very cool out of the 301 folks, and very cool to kind of be in your guys' backyard and see how you guys do it.
Yep.
Got it.
Lewis, what do you got coming with your stuff? And obviously you got the G-body now, but what where are we going to see you at this summer?
Right now, probably just some local stuff, some shootouts and stuff around here. We didn't sign up for either one of the race weeks this year. I built a new car. We had a lot of family stuff going on. Austin's racing in a local series called Titans of the 10-5. He's running for a points championship.
Cool.
So I told him we kind of take this year off so he could do that because they have races, it would interfere with our drag week stuff. And I kind of had some health stuff go on. I had to get straightened out. And I talked to Matt about it. I'm not going to be able to make either one of them doing with what I'm having to deal with right now, but I'm going to be all right, I believe. So we'll definitely probably be back next year with 2 or 3 cars of our own. So
nice. That's what I'm talking about.
And the old Malibu, it could be LS turbo by then. It might not be. Just don't really know yet. Might keep it NA.
I mean, just whatever you have time for. Whatever, maybe you need to recover a little bit of rent from the boy.
Yeah. The garage is getting full. We have another Regal also that's got a cage in it, fiberglass front end, all that. It's just a roller. It's just been sitting for a couple of years, so you never know what we're going to do, man. It's crazy.
I mean, that is true. I mean, pretty much for the entirety of the 301, you just don't know what in the hell is going to be out there, what's going to show up, or who's going to have what car this year, and who's going to be driving this with whose engine in it, and whatever. But either way, it's.
I definitely feel a little sick to my stomach not coming this year because I've been to every one of them, and I've been to a drag and drive every year since 2011. But I just got to get some stuff took care of, So
nope, I get it 100%.
I'm gonna set this year out and regroup. And
well, if you want to come to any of these, you let me know. I got your entry.
Okay. Yeah, I talked to Matt, and he's like, "Well, you think you could make 2.0?" I said, "Man," I was like, I kind of looked at what I had to do. I ended up with colon cancer, and they removed it, and now I got to start chemo next week, and it runs for 4 months. That takes me into the end of September, so I can't, I just can't really do it.
Right. It's just going to be too damn close, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, but everything should be good. But
I'm glad the prognosis is good. I'm glad that you're still kind of getting out and you're going to be able to do some local stuff and whatnot. And when you get back, like I said, we've got you. So,
it's a good. I mean, it's going to take something close to killing you to not want to come to Rocky Mountain Race Week. So
no, that's 100% true. I mean, pretty much, and just get through that first because that's important, and then get your ass back because we got some stuff to do.
Right on. Yeah. I was pretty bummed about it till I talked to Matt on the phone and stuff a little bit about it, and I felt a little bit better about it after that. So Matt's a good dude, man. Yep.
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. And Red Hat says he's praying for you.
Cool.
Thanks.
But absolutely. Zane, what do you got coming? You got anything kind of going on? I mean, obviously you got 3 or 4 project cars you said you got going on, but we got anything kind of coming up here shortly?
Oh, I had. Then you have 2 kids at the same time. That is your project car then.
Hey, good job, Zane.
Yeah, good job. But no, I'm just kind of, I make it to the racetrack when I can and hang out with everybody, and I'll see if I can find a project car somewhere down the road. And right now, the only project car I have is my daily driver I kind of tinker around with, but that ain't nothing. But, you never know what the future holds. Anything can happen.
Exactly. And reach out to Carlos because I think he's got about 14 cars sitting around over there. So whenever you're ready to get into something, he got a G-body ready for you. Alan says Regal 2.0.
It's always sitting out there.
I do have another Regal.
I've thought about it a couple times. Originally I had that car tore apart and we tore the front end off. It had the steel front end from Austin's car on it. And we had plans on building it at one time, and then it's just going to take a lot of body work and a lot of money. So
it's funny how that works. It's just
you just never know. Never know what the future holds. Anything can happen.
You do never know, but I mean, maybe Austin will let you borrow that one. I mean, since we're giving away all of his stuff to everyone, let's just You can have that motor, says Austin.
Probably wore out by then.
That said, Austin, what do you got going with King Tut and what's kind of coming for you this year?
For this year, so originally before we dropped this motor in the car, we was building an aftermarket Dart Block 388 for it.
Nice.
Then COVID hit, parts got hard to find, so this deal popped up, so I bought it. We put it in the car. We've been learning the fuel injection stuff with it. And
Yeah, we got fuel tech on it.
I was going to say, what kind of management is it? It's Fuel Tech?
Yeah.
Nice. What do you think of it?
I like a lot. They got really good customer support. I mean, I was actually trying to get it going for my girlfriend's prom here a year or two ago, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, we couldn't get the thing to run. I got a hold of a guy in like Australia or something. I mean, we had it fired up running 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, and there's always somebody there to help you. I mean, on the phone, you know, so that's a big help. So
that's super good.
Jumping back, yeah, we're just going to try to get that 388 together. I mean, it'll be built to hold about 2,000 horsepower. So,
heck yeah! And what's your plans for racing for this summer?
We're running that series deal, and then our local track's Ozark, so they got some shootouts and stuff we might try to hit. And
nice.
Then that race on October 14th, we'll do it. So,
very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, I think we've come to the end. We got an hour and a half in, and I appreciate you guys. I know you're an hour ahead of me, at least an hour, right?
Yeah.
So it's 9:30 there.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, I got to tell. I mean, 9:30 is bedtime for me. I don't know about you guys, but
8:30 over here.
Right. So I mean, we're pounding right into like full on sleep time. She's gonna be like groggy in the morning and mad at me, and I'm sorry about that. But
no, we're good.
You guys, thank you so much for joining in. I know it is a little bit of a late night, but it's been super fun kind of catching up with you guys and getting a lot of background of obviously Lewis, the Chevelle, and Wendy kind of getting involved and becoming the circle that is the 301 street cars on Dragon Drive, and obviously Austin with the King Tut car, and then Zane around for it all. And I had no idea you had a junior dragster. That is super cool, man. Like, were you any good at that?
It starts young somewhere.
Hell yeah. I mean, Stevie's sister did a lot of junior dragster stuff, and now she does a ton of racing stuff. Stevie's my fiance, and we're getting married next spring, and I'm super excited. But yeah, were you any good in that?
Well, starting out I was kind of rough, but weekend warrior.
That's what you do. That's what you do. But guys, again, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys in the background real quick. Hold on. We have one more comment. Oh, Zane ran over me in that thing, says Carlos.
That's Carlos. Right before we sold it.
Hold on a second. Let
him ride in the ditch.
I'm gonna read it in banjo. Hold on. Zane ran over me in that thing.
Oh, shit.
That was actually the day we were selling it. Those people were there to see it run, and I mistake the brake for the gas, and me and Carlos rode that thing all the way to the ditch,
and right through Carlos.
Yeah,
Carlos was on the.
That's good stuff right there. Oh man,
it was funny. It was funny shit.
That is some good stuff, man. Woo! Well, anyway, again, I'm going to throw you guys in the background real quick. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'm going to do a quick sign-off for everybody here. I'll bring you back on, and we'll say goodbye.
All righty.
Okay.
Awesome. But thank you guys so much again. The Martins and Zane hanging out with us here tonight. Episode 13, Thursday on the 1st. It's my brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Patrick. And guys, such a good time. Thank you so much. If you're wondering, the Nuggets are up by 11. So that's awesome. Rounding down in the 4th. So Nuggets are going to win. Hey, if you care. I do. Anyway, but again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is such a good time. Obviously, having the Martins on and, obviously Lewis kind of dropping the cancer bombshell and whatnot. dude, get well soon. Be praying for Lewis, and then we'll hopefully see him back very soon, and hopefully we'll see all the Martins and all the 301 streetcar guys all back together and doing the thing. But again, thank you guys for showing up, for hanging out. Be sure to share this stuff with your friends, because again, this is like maybe the most sleeper kind of podcast that's out there. Really getting to know a lot of these people that we've hung out with a little bit, but not really gotten the time to really dig in to a lot of their background and stuff. So thank you guys for showing up and watching this stuff. And again, share it, like that stuff, so I kind of know what's going on. Thanks so much for keeping up in the comments. And that said, episode 13, guys, we are done.